Imitation is a successful way to build an empire and become a billionaire. As I said in my previous video, imitation can be used by entrepreneurs when we want to assess the opportunity in the market, but we are not taking the riskiest way, which is to be the first mover in the market. In this video, there will be no slides. I'm just telling you a brief story about Li Ka-shing. Li Ka-shing is a billionaire in Hong Kong. He's among the richest men in Asia Pacific. I think he's generally top 3, top 5. In some cases, he is in the top 1 position. Li Ka-shing built not only a venture, he literally built an empire in so many different industries. I think that many of you will recall real estate, because many areas of Hong Kong have been built by Li Ka-shing, but he was successful also in retail, in financial services, in energy, in shipment, in logistics. I think now he's retired, and some of his children took the helm of a family business. But this story is from the early age of Li Ka-shing, when Li Ka-shing was still a flamboyant entrepreneur in Hong Kong. So he started doing business when he was very young. Li Ka-shing did not pursue any higher education degree, but he started working around 14 or 15 years old. His first job was actually in a shop fixing watches. So this was his first hustle, and then he also worked in a tea shop. However, he became famous initially in the plastic industry. So imagine the Hong Kong, fast-growing Hong Kong in the 50s and the 60s. Li Ka-shing was in the plastic industry. So initially he started as a salesman and business development in the plastic industry, and then he set up his own factory, and he was producing plastic products for construction industry. So not really high-end, high-grade type of plastic. And then he realized that what he was doing was not really that innovative any longer. So there were so many competitors coming in the industry, and it was really difficult to still prosper in that industry because the barriers at the entry were not that high any longer. So what Li Ka-shing did was to look around. He was already in the industry, was already in that market, and to detect what new opportunities he could have exploited. And he found one opportunity, which is also related to, in that case, my home country. So he found an opportunity in Italy and Europe. There were companies in Italy and Europe producing plastic flowers. And these plastic flowers, back in the 60s, were a very advanced type of production. Very sophisticated, with high level of technology. So Li Ka-shing said, I need to learn about this. I need to know more about this, and then I will decide whether I intend to pursue this opportunity or not. And since he could not hire any consultant, because back in the days this was not the case, he could not go on Google to find any information about it. So he just traveled to Italy. So he took a flight, he went to Rome, and then he organized a meeting with one of these factories in Italy, and he pretended to be a distributor from Hong Kong that wanted to buy from them. And he went to see the factory, he met the owner, he went to see the plant, and he really loved what he saw, because he was also the owner of a factory, so he could really see the level of new technology, new innovation in the factory, and he was astonished and impressed. And he realized that that was the right new entry opportunity, new product that he wanted to bring to Hong Kong and Asia. And then he started thinking, how can I make this happen? Because these companies are already doing this very well. How can I make this happen? And of course, it would not have been price competitive to import all these flowers, plastic flowers from Europe to Hong Kong. There were already companies doing this, but he wanted to be cheaper than these companies. He wanted to have the same level of innovation in technology, but to compete also on being cheaper than companies importing flowers to Hong Kong. And so, as entrepreneurial as he is, he just decided to start working in one of his factories. So he managed to extend his visa somehow, and then he went to another factory and he was hired as a factory worker. So back then things probably were easier, and he managed to do this. He put it over, and for 3 months he worked in one of the leading plastic manufacturers, plastic flowers manufacturers in Italy. And he learned literally everything that he needed to learn on how to produce these flowers. Then after 3 months, he resigned, he quit, he bought a flight ticket back to Hong Kong. He went to his factory and said, I had this epiphany and I know now how to produce plastic flowers. And he restructured his factory. He used the knowledge that he learned firsthand, literally firsthand as a factory worker in Italy. He used it in Hong Kong. And the funny thing here is that Li Ka-shing became the king of plastic flower. This was his early venture, extremely successful. He started selling plastic flowers in the mainland, in all over Asia Pacific, in Japan, in Korea, in Southeast Asia, and so on. And he was recognized to be the king of plastic flowers because this was a sort of landmark venture created by Li Ka-shing. Created by Li Ka-shing? Yes, we can say this to an extent, created by him through his entrepreneurial mindset and behavior, but in this case was a very successful example of imitation. How an entrepreneur, instead of trying out as the first one in the market, he imitated successful business model, product, engineering, manufacturing, and processes, generally speaking, from factories that were based in a different geography to his own geography, which was the Hong Kong in the 60s. So I really like this example because it is not only an example of imitation, but it's an example of entrepreneurial thinking and entrepreneurial execution. It's a sublime example on how entrepreneurs think, how entrepreneurs evaluate opportunities, and how entrepreneurs execute, take actions to deliver on these opportunities. And also how entrepreneurs manage risk. Or his strategy was also a risk management strategy. He probably adopted the most risk-conscious strategy to create this new product, this new venture, rather than just trying out in the market without having the necessary knowledge. And he did so in the right window of opportunity. He understood that the previous product range, the previous product offering in the plastic industry, the one where he was already operating, was declining. And he also realized that he needed a new product development, and that was the time for Asia to be the manufacturing hub for this new product development. due to a cheaper labor cost and basically the same quality that could have been achieved in European, Italian, German manufacturing plants. I hope you enjoy this little story, and especially that this is a good way to reflect, to bring some further food for thoughts about entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial behavior, and new market opportunity, new market evaluation, and new market entry. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.